Professor Zeltharaw's xenobiology class at the Galactic University had always been peaceful until the day humans joined the curriculum. The Vordak educator's tentacles twitched nervously as she addressed her diverse classroom of 23 students from across the galaxy. Today's lesson: nutritional requirements of different species. In the back row, exchange student Marcus Chen sat quietly munching on what appeared to be ordinary food from his homeworld lunch kit. The other students, delicate crystalline beings who absorbed pure energy, gaseous nebuloids who filtered cosmic radiation, and plant-like verdani who photosynthesized, watched with polite curiosity. As we discussed, Professor Zeltharaw continued, her voice translator rendering her melodic tones into standard galactic. Most civilized species have evolved beyond consuming other life forms. The hegemony considers this the mark of true sentience. Ziktar, a proud hegemony representative with iridescent scales, nodded approvingly. Indeed, Professor. My people transcended such barbarism millennia ago. We sustain ourselves purely on synthesized nutrients and stellar energy. Other students murmured agreement. The very concept of consuming other organisms was considered primitive, even disturbing to most galactic species. However, Professor Zelthara added carefully, our newest members, the humans, still practice traditional consumption. Marcus, would you mind explaining your species' dietary habits? Marcus swallowed his bite and stood up, holding his lunch container. Sure, Professor. Humans are omnivores. We eat both plants and animals. Today I brought some favorites from home for lunch. He opened his container, revealing what looked like a carefully arranged meal. The classroom fell silent as he began identifying each item. This here is lobster, Marcus said, pointing to bright red, armor-plated creatures with massive claws. We boiled them alive and cracked them open to eat the meat inside. Several students recoiled in horror. The crystalline beings dimmed visibly, and one nebuloid actually dispersed partially in shock. Marcus continued cheerfully, oblivious to the growing panic. These are mussels. We steam them until they open up, then slurp them right out of their shells. And this, he held up something that looked like a writhing nightmare, is squid. 10 arms, beak in the center, we fry the whole thing in rings. Pipsquare, a young verdani whose leaves were turning brown with distress, raised a trembling branch. Those look like the void krakens that terrorize our shipping lanes. Oh, similar body plan, sure, Marcus nodded. But these are way smaller. Earth squids only get about 40 feet long at most. We call the really big ones colossal squid. The classroom erupted in horrified whispers. Ziktar's scales had shifted to a sickly yellow. You eat creatures that resemble the monsters of deep space? Well, yeah, Marcus said, pulling out another container. Here's some crab, basically underwater spiders with armor plating. We crack their shells with hammers and picks. And this is shark, apex predator with rows of razor teeth. Makes great steaks. Professor Zeltharaw's tentacles had gone completely rigid. Marcus, these creatures you're describing, they sound like the stuff of our worst nightmares. Marcus paused, looking around the room at the terrified faces. Oh, I guess they do sound pretty scary when you put it like that. But they're delicious. Here, anyone want to try some? The offer sent the classroom into full panic. 3 students fainted outright, 2 crystalline beings shattered from shock, and the nebuloid student evacuated through the ventilation system. Wait! Professor Zelthara called out desperately. You mean to tell me that on your homeworld, creatures like void krakens and terror sharks are common? Super common, Marcus confirmed, taking another bite of lobster. Our oceans are full of them. Plus giant jellies that can kill you with a touch, electric eels that can stun you unconscious, and barracudas with teeth like knives. Great fishing, though. Ziktar's translator struggled with his terrified chittering. You're Your entire planet is populated by space monsters? I wouldn't call them monsters, Marcus shrugged. Just wildlife. Though I guess our ancestors did have to get pretty tough to survive down there. We've been hunting and eating these things for hundreds of thousands of years. The remaining conscious students stared at him in absolute terror. Professor Zelthoraw's voice was barely a whisper. And you actively hunt these nightmare creatures for food? Marcus grinned, holding up a piece of shark. For food, for sport, sometimes just because they're in our way. My grandfather once caught a 12-foot tiger shark with just a fishing line. Made the best fish tacos you've ever had. The classroom fell into stunned silence. Finally, Pipsquear managed to speak, his voice shaking. No wonder your species conquered half the galaxy so quickly. You're not just Deathworlders, you're apex predators who eat the things that would kill the rest of us. Marcus looked confused. But it's just seafood day. Wait until you hear about barbecue weekend. The remaining students fled the classroom in terror, leaving Marcus alone with his lunch, wondering why everyone seemed so upset about a simple meal. Professor Zeltharaw made a mental note to warn the Galactic Council. Humans didn't just survive their death world, they ate it.